everybody, and welcome back to On Point HQ and the start of a new bolt action hobby blog. I really enjoyed the first one that I did earlier this year, which was my US Mechanised Tank Destroyer platoon. I broke that down into 4 videos, and it was the first time I'd ever really done that, and I really enjoyed doing it, and it kept me really motivated to finish that project. So I'm going to do another one. So what am I doing this time? Well, after the previous 2, so I've done US, I've done the 11th Armoured Division, the British project, all based around sort of Normandy post D-Day. I fancy something a bit different. I was toying with a few lists, and then I happened to end up at the Warlord Games Open day, which is an absolutely fantastic day all around. Really enjoyed myself. And they had a cracking participation game, so a display game going on, which was set in the Western Desert. So my mind was made up for me, having seen some of the awesome figures on display. So while I was there, I picked up this, which is the Afrika Korps, so the infantry box, 30 figures. I thought this would be a great starting point for me. So when I got home, I sat down with a copy of the Western Desert book, looked through the lists, and some really interesting lists in that book, but I eventually settled for this, which is the 1942 DAK Panzer Division list. Now I've chosen the heavy list, so it's going to be Panzer IVs will be the mainstay tanks in this list, and I made a start. Now this is a bit, I've not really painted desert figures for a while. It was close to 3 years when I kit bashed and painted a number of SAS sections using the British 8th Army box, and I haven't really been back to the desert, so to speak, since then. So this was a bit of a change for me. So it took me quite a while to work out a colour scheme. Lots of greens, browns, beiges, yellows. But I finally did it, and I'm going to show you exactly what I've completed so far. It's not a lot, but it's more getting the scheme down and getting the right desert effects. So without further ado, let's see what I've done first. Now the first thing I wanted to do was start with a shoots squad. There's going to be 2 of these in the 1500 point platoon, 8 man, and both with 2 LMGs. So this is the first shoots squad here, as you can see. 8 man, all veteran, and it took me a while to work out the colour scheme on these chaps, because I knew what I wanted them to look like. So I wanted sort of a faded, drab vibe or feel to them, but I wasn't quite sure what paints I was going to use. So eventually the 2 main colours for the uniform on these chaps is Vallejo Russian uniform green for the tunics, and for the trousers I just use Vallejo khaki, and they're the main colours for the uniforms. So I painted 2 at a time. The first 2 were more of a test. How was it going to turn out? And I was super happy with how they turned out. Bit of kit bashing going on with these. It wouldn't be a project of mine if they weren't kit bashed. So what I'm using with these is a combination of the Afrika Korps box that I got, but also bits and pieces from this, which is the German Blitzkrieg starter iron, which I bought in March for sort of a Stalingrad project that ultimately went to the shelf of abandoned project, but it's left me with quite a few German bits and pieces. So some of the arms from that set are in here. So the NCO, both his arms are from that Blitzkrieg starter box. This guy on the end, his arms are from the Fallschirmjäger box. So again, just demonstrates just how versatile Warlord Games plastics are. And again, bits and pieces all over the place. I've used some of the equipment from the Blitzkrieg box as well. And that guy there, that's quite an easy thing. So that's from the Fallschirmjäger box, but he's armed with an MG42, whereas these guys have got MG34s. So it's just a very simple case of attaching an MG34 to the bipod there. As you can see, I've gone for a bit of weathering on the, I hope you can see this, the weathering on the helmets. Really super happy with the weathering on these. Hope you can pick that up. Just a sponge technique with Vallejo grey, and I've used it on the helmets and also the gas mask canisters. Really used a few new techniques on these. This is a wonderful, wonderful set by Warlord. One of my favourites so far. Just such a pleasure to work on. So there'll be another one of these added to the squad, so added to the project rather. But that was them out the way. Now next, I needed to give these some support. So I could put them in a truck, an SDK 251, and that's what I chose because in the Blitzkrieg box I've got a spare 251, and here it is. Now, if you're in the Plastic Crack Facebook group, you'll know that I hummed and ahed over this one Saturday afternoon because I didn't know what I wanted it to look like. Did I want to put stuff in there? Did I want to put a guy in there with binoculars? In the end, I went for neither. I'm saving that for the command vehicle, or the command vehicle for the officer. So this is just a basic, the 251 from that Blitzkrieg box, with a bit of plastic stowage and some third-party stowage on there as well. It's quite simple at the end of the day. Really nice kit to put together, but for me, again, it was the weathering. Oh god, I was so impressed with this. I was terrified I was going to completely ruin it, but it actually turned out. It's quite possibly some of the best weathering I've applied to a vehicle. Because with this, it's in the desert. I can't use mud to hide all my mistakes, so which is what I normally do. So there's going to be, I'm either going to add another one of these, or I might include an Opel Blitz truck. I'm not quite sure yet, because everyone needs transport. So I'm going to throw in a couple of transport vehicles, some tows, etc., etc. But again, really enjoyed working on this. Three or four nights on this, and a Saturday afternoon. But the weathering. Yeah, I actually got the weathering technique from Troy at Sonic Sledgehammer, who put out a really timely video for desert vehicles and weathering. I just followed his tutorial and yeah, super impressed with that. Okay, so what next? Now, a couple of support options I'm going to be adding, and one of those is a medium mortar team. Now, if you've seen any of my videos before, you know I'm not a fan of metal miniatures. So what I did is I made my own mortar crew out of just various. I used the obviously the Afrika Korps box, but then there was some kit bashing and creativity to make these actually look like a mortar crew. So this guy here, different arms. That left arm is from the Blitzkrieg box. The actual mortar shells are so historically inaccurate, it's untrue. They're actually, I think they're Piat shells from the British Airborne box, but I cut the ends off and smoothed them around, and they can do as proxy mortar shells. The actual mortar itself is metal, that's in the Blitzkrieg box, but the rest of it's plastic. Again, big biscuit base, a big bit of cork. Now these boxes, I thought the base looked a bit bare when I'd completed it, so I remember that when I went to the Warlord Games Open day, we got a goodie bag, and one of the things in the goodie bag was some Skytrex resin bits and pieces, and these boxes, one of them, I thought it fitted in there really well. Just gives it a bit of life, because the desert basing can be quite dull at times. But that, again, more weathering on the helmet there. He's had a particularly bad one, this guy. He's got more dents than anything. But the rest of it, yeah, really happy with that. Just need to make a spotter for this. That's going to be next on the agenda, is a spotter. And last but not least, I made a start on the first Panzer IV. So I've gone for the Panzer IV G, and here it is. Absolutely, I've railed against some of the plastic tank kits from all mainly because I can't put the tracks together. That's just me, it's just user error. But this was an absolutely lovely kit to put together. It went together so well. It's one of the fastest tanks I think I've ever built. And this was built and painted over 2 nights. It's really quite simple. Again, I used the same weathering technique as I did on the 251. There's some third-party stowage and accessories on there, and the basing all my vehicles as I am prone to do. But again, absolutely lovely kit to work on. And that's the Panzer IV, and it's actually this kit here. So it's a plastic Panzer IV kit by Warlord Games, and that's what I've done so far. So what's up next? Well, I shall show you something that's half finished. So another thing that I've requisitioned from the Blitzkrieg box is this, which is a light artillery piece. Please ignore the way it's been put together. It wouldn't glue together. It wouldn't stay. So I've just I've just done it the way I thought it looked good. It'll look okay from 3 feet away. Just don't get too close to it because it looks terrible. We've done the base. I've painted the gun. I've applied some weathering to the gun. There we go. Now this needs a crew. So I've kit bashed some plastic crew. So here we have the guy holding the shell. He's actually got a head from the British Airborne box. Nice bandage on there. I think it looks really well. Just various different arms from different kits. Second guy is, you can't have a gun crew without a guy with binoculars, and there we go. Again, both of his arms are from the plastic Blitzkrieg box. Binoculars and just an arm at rest. And the last one is this chap here. Pointing, why not? So again, most of his bits and pieces are from the plastic Afrika Korps box. This left down, though, I believe, is from the British Airborne box. And I've just sort of smoothed out the sleeve to make it look like the same one there. So them three are going to be the crew for the light artillery piece. And that's it so far. Like I said, something new for me. Some new painting, some new techniques, some new schemes. So up next, in the next video, hopefully I'll have the light artillery piece completed. I'm also going to be working on the command tank, which is going to be a Panzer IV F1, I believe. That again is from the Blitzkrieg starter box. And I'm going to make a start on the second shooting squad. So that'll be coming up in the next update video. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. It's nice to get back into bolt action after a few months away from painting it. I'm really happy with the choice that I've made with this Afrika Korps project. If you've got any comments or questions, just leave them down below, and I'll certainly respond to all comments and questions. But as always, thanks for watching. Do take care. May your dice roll well, and I'll catch you all in the next video. So, bye bye for now.